Hi knitters, today we're getting into the heart of the January headband, which is that beautiful little stitch pattern right down the center. I think you're going to find this very easy and very satisfying. I'm going to show you some pattern tricks. So if you're the type of person that likes a big picture and you want to understand the pattern, I'm going to try to explain that to you. And if you just want to think in your mind, I'm going to follow the directions stitch by stitch, that's okay too. It's so simple. We're just going to purl 2, knit 4. Basically it, with a little twist here and there. Very simple. So let's go over to the workstation and start working through the stitch pattern together. So quick review. In the first video, we went over materials. In the second video, we went over gauge and size. In the third video, we went over the abbreviations and we did the long tail cast on as well as the 2x2 rib pattern. So let's get started in the stitch pattern section of our headband. This is this main section through here. We have the rib section completed. We are this far in the program and we're going to start building this main section next. So our next set of directions say work stitch pattern rounds 1 through 12 until headband measures however many inches for in my case, it's going to be about a 4 1/4 inch wide headband. So if I want my finished product to be the 4 1/4, I can just work my stitch pattern for 2 1/4 inches, or I can just do for desired height, making sure I end with around 4, 8, or 12, slipping marker as you work. That may sound confusing, but we're going to break it down and it's going to be very simple when you see it working out. The big picture here is we're going to be working the stitch pattern rounds 1 through 12 for several inches. So let's go look at what the stitch pattern rounds are all about. I always like to break down a knitting pattern in my head and actually look for the pattern within the pattern before I even start. That just gives me some perspective and helps me understand what's really going on. There are 12 rounds, so round 1 through round 12. Round 1, I'm going to purl 2, knit 4, and I'm going to repeat that the whole way around. That sounds easy. Rounds 2, 3, and 4, I'm going to work what I see, meaning I'm going to knit the knits and purl the purls. Another way to write that would be just repeat round 1 3 more times. Also really easy. Now I'm going to get to round 5. Round 5, I have a new pattern direction. So this round I'm going to knit 2 and then purl 2, knit 4, purl 2, knit 4, and I'm going to repeat that, whatever's in the little asterisks, all the way around until the last 4 stitches, then purl 2, knit 2. That sounds easy. If you can purl and you can knit, you're going to be fine here. And on round 6, 7, and 8, I'm going to do the exact same thing that I did on round 5. I'm just going to keep repeating those directions. Or work what I see. Knit the knits and purl the purls. Monkey see, monkey do. Then on round 9, I'm going to start a new little pattern and I'm going to knit 4, purl 2, and simply repeat that all the way around. And then rounds 10, 11, and 12, I'm going to repeat round 9. Work what I see. Knit the knits and purl the purls. So when I break this down, this 12-row pattern actually has 3 different sections. Section 1 is round 1 through 4. Section 2 is rounds 5 through 8. And section 3 is rounds 9 through 12. Round 1 is the beginning of a section and it sets a new stitch pattern in motion. It's basically what we would call a setup row. Round 5 is the next setup row, and round 9 is the third setup row. Basically, if you want to think of it this way, you only have to think for 3 rounds when you're setting it up. You need to think and you need to count. And then the rest of the rounds, you're just working what you see. If you see a knit, you knit it, and if you see a purl, you purl it. Easy peasy. So when we're doing this pattern, we're going to keep working rounds 1 through 12. And once I get to round 12, I can go back to round 1 and start working through the rounds again. And I'm going to continue to do that until I have enough height. And in this case, the height is going to be the 2¼ inches from where our rib stops and where our stitch pattern begins. So in this case, the easiest place to start measuring where the rib ends is where that purl ends, right there. Pick a spot where the purls end and knit stitches start. And you can just go right up until about there, and you can see that's where I started the next purl section. Another thing you could do if you wanted is take a removable stitch marker and simply mark one of these stitches close to the end of round. And then as I work, this will be my measurement marker. This marker is going to let me know where my rib section stopped and where my stitch pattern section begins. So I can measure from here up, and I'm going to keep working my 12 rounds until I have 2¼ inches from the marker on my stitch pattern. So this number here is completely arbitrary. You can do whatever you like. So let's start working through the stitch pattern. I'm going to take off my point protectors and make sure that my stitch marker hasn't jumped off. So this is my thinking round. This is, in fact, I'm going to put a little arrow next to my 3 thinking rounds. Round 1 is a setup round, round 5 is a setup round, and round 9 is a setup round. So these are where I'm going to have to do a little extra thinking and counting. So we're going to work on round 1. Purl 2, knit 4. Really easy. I'm starting with a purl 2. You can see right here I had a purl 2 before, so I'm just going to repeat that. Purl 2, knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, right there. So that's it. Purl 2, and you can see those 2 little purls right there. So that's it. You can see where my round started. I created a purl right there. That's the bump, is the purl. There's another purl. And then I have these 2 stitches, the one I marked, and then the one right next to it. And those are clearly knit stitches. And then these kind of look like purls. You can see these purls are right here. But watch what happens when I give a little tug and I pull that down into place. You can see those knit stitches are hiding. Those knit stitches are right here. Let's see if I can grab this one. That's the knit stitch. The purl is actually in the row below. You see how these purls are right up on the needle? And these might look like they are, but you can just give them a little tug down. These you really can't tug. They're going to stay right up against the needle. Just trying to help you identify which stitches are which so that you can mindlessly knit those other 3 rounds. So purl 2, knit 4. Let's go again. Purl 2, and now you can see we're over knit stitches, and that's okay. We're resetting the pattern. This is a setup round, and then I'm going to knit 4. Purl 2, knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can see that it doesn't line up perfectly with the rib stitching that we did. That is okay. And you can see what happens here. This is what I love about it. You've got 3 different levels of the rib. So we have a short rib, then you have a medium rib, and then you have a longer rib. And that is part of the beauty of the pattern. I love that effect. So when you're seeing this, we have to break that rib pattern for this setup row. I'm just going to work around. I'm going to continue with my purl 2, knit 4, so every now and again go ahead back and check. You have purl 2, knit 4, purl 2, knit 4, purl 2, knit 1, 2, 3, and there's the 4th. I hope you'll let me know in the comments what type of yarn you've chosen to use and if you're really happy with it. Maybe even let us know what color you picked. I would love to know what your favorites are. It might inspire more of us to want to do a second one. Something pretty important to note, just to kind of double check or cross-reference your stitching. This is never going to end in the middle of a knit section or in the middle of a purl section. So if I'm purling 2, I'm always going to end that purl 2 at the end of another rib. And if I'm knitting 4, I'm always going to end the knit 4 section at the end of a rib. If I find myself ending in the middle of a rib like this, I counted wrong. I did something that's not right. It is not going to work out if you continue. Just go back and take a look at what you've done and see if you could figure out where that odd man out was, that odd stitch out was. So 2 and then 4. I'm coming around to my marker and I will need to end at the marker. Purl 2, knit 4. So I'm coming in probably for the last repeat. There's my purl 2 and my knit 4. I'm coming right in, and I completed the purl 2, knit 4 entirely when I get to the marker. If I have stitches left, or if I don't have enough stitches, it means that I did something incorrectly through here. I stitched incorrectly. So you'll want to go back and tink back and take out one stitch at a time and count it out first and see where you made your mistake, and then go back and fix it. Okay, remember, this is my measurement marker for my 2 1/4 inches of stitch pattern. This is my end of round marker, or my beginning of round marker. Now we're going to work round 2, and that just means work what I see, knit the knits and purl the purls. The first round after the setup round can be the most challenging. I can just continue to count it out and say, okay, purl 2, knit 4, and not even bother to look at my stitches. But I don't like to have to think that hard when I'm knitting. Sometimes I just like to work what I see. I call that right braining it. So I'm going to come in here, and if I see a purl, there's the purl on this stitch, I'm going to purl it. And again here, I'm going to make sure I pull my stitches down so that I can truly see what's right on the needle. Not what I think is there, but what is truly there. And that's 4. And these are clearly knits. Again, these purls, because they want to bounce up like basically a garter stitch pattern, the knits are hiding under the purls. So when you pull them down a little bit, you see that those V-shaped knits are right there. That is the knit right there. So if you're comfortable just working what you see, by all means, freely do that. You want to relax when you knit. You want to enjoy whatever else you're doing. You might be listening to a podcast, or who knows, listening to an audiobook. Oh, that's a knit. You might be talking with friends, and so you just don't want to have to be doing nothing but counting the whole time. So relax. Don't think you're going to inherently do something wrong. Just kind of keep your eye on what you're doing, and every once in a while double check to make sure you're still on point. And double check is really more of a visual check than it is a counting check. I like the visual checks too, because if I put my work down and I come back to it later, I don't have to think about really where I am. I just have to look and see, well, what do I do next? I don't know if it's a knit or a purl or how many there are. There's my hiding knits right there. So I think it's a lot more efficient, and I don't have to be a great record keeper because I'm really, really not. So I find it works better with my style. But I have noticed that some of my students are really great record keepers, and they heavily rely on counting, and they like it that way. That's okay. If that's you and that's what you want to do, by all means. But if it's not you, don't feel like you have to. Don't be held hostage by your counting. So if you're an accounting type of person, you could make a note on rounds 2, 3, and 4. You could just write repeat round 1. And so for round 2, you would repeat round 1. For round 3, you would repeat round 1. And for round 4, you would repeat round 1. That's easy. Sometimes when I get working and I'm not doing any accounting, I'm just working, I also have to know how many rounds I've done. So I know I've done round 1, but I don't know if I've done rounds 2 or 2 and 3 or 2, 3, and 4. So I also have to keep track of how many times around I've gone. So let me show you how to visualize that and actually read your knitting so you don't have to write that down as well. Okay, I'm to the end of my round, slipping my marker. Now the question is, how many times around have I gone, right? So it's easiest to look at one of these sections where the ribbing stops and the knitting begins. So you'll find several of these. Every third one of these, you're going to have purls with knits over top. So when I come up here, I can see that I've got, there's the last purl. So I have one row above the purls. That was round 1. And then another row above that. So this was round 2. So I have done 2 rounds. I've done the first round and the second round. I now need to do rounds 3 and 4. And so I'm just going to work what I see. I'm going to continue. This one is so much easier because now there aren't any purls in our way to make it look different than it is. So you can see those knits are nicely standing out and not hiding behind purls. So there's really nothing to pull down or look behind at this point. I can just easily work what I see. The question is, how many rounds do I have now? Well, find my purl rib, and then above the purl, there's my last purl right here. And there's a knit stitch coming right out of that purl. So that is stitch 1 and round 1. Then above that we have round 2, and then above that we have round 3. And we do not count what's currently on the needle. So I know I've done stitch pattern rounds 1, 2, and 3, and I'm just going to do 4, again working what I see. So just to make sure, I've got the new rib that I set for these 2 purls, and then I should have a wide rib of 4 knits. Let's go ahead and slip our marker and just check to make sure I have my 4 rounds. So finding my rib of purls and then finding the purl that's highest in that rib, and then counting the stitch that's coming right out of that purl, as 1, 2, 3, and then 4. So I know I've done rounds 1, 2, 3, and 4 above the pearls. And I know I'm done with these first 4 rounds then, and I'm ready to do the second setup round, which is round 5. So let's take a look at this. This one's the most tricky, I guess, because it splits those 6 stitches. You can see 2 plus 4 is 6, and 4 plus 2 is 6, but we still are working over 6 stitches here, but I had to split it. So we have 2 at the beginning, and then all the way at the end, we have 4 more. So there's the extra 6. 2, 4, 6. So this one's just a little trickier, but not a big deal. Very easy, actually. We're going to knit 2. So let's just start off with that. Now, I want you to see something. This is really critical. The pattern, it's critical to seeing how this pattern changes, okay? You can see right here, you've got this like little swirly effect. And what's going to happen is the pearls and the purl columns, the 2 pearls, are going to always be traveling 2 stitches to the left. So this purl column right here is now going to jump to over these 2 stitches here, and this set of knits is going to become the purl column. So we're going to knit 2. And now I'm going to purl 2, knit 4. Purl 2, and there the pearls have jumped from here to here. So purl 2, knit 4. Okay, and I just finished working over a purl column, and now I'm going to repeat what's in the asterisk, repeat from the asterisk to the asterisk around to the last 4 stitches. So I don't repeat the knit 2 again, I'm just repeating what's between the asterisks. So I'm going to repeat purl 2, knit 4. So I have purl 2, knit 4, purl 2, knit 4. And you can see the last 2 knits are always going to be over a purl column. And once I work those last 2 knits over the purl column, I know that, oh, I need to purl, because those pearls are going to jump 1 column to the left, or 1 rib to the left. So I'm going to do 1, 2. Oh, there are the pearls. I'm going to finish with knits over the pearls. And now the purl rib has jumped 1 group to the left. 2, there are the pearls again. And I'm finishing with the knit 4. So I just purl those 2. And then 1, 2, 3. Look at that. Last one, 4. And so I have to put my purl column right here. Again, I can count it out. I can just be saying purl 2, knit 4, purl 2, knit 4, and that works. But if you want to open up your mind to do some other things, you can just be seeing the pattern and working what you need to do next to keep the pattern. I'm just going to keep working around, and I'll get to the next marker and show you where we are. I'm coming up to the end of round 5, so I'm purling 2, knitting 4, and I'm going to have 4 stitches left, which is exactly what I should have right here. So repeat around to the last 4 stitches. And with these last 4 stitches, I'm going to purl 2, knit 2. Purl 2, and then knit 2. And as you can see, these 2 Normally we have 4 knits all together, are right up to these 2. So there is my 4 knits together. It's just split between the beginning of the round and the end of the round. So round 6, 7, and 8, we are just going to work what we see. Again, I can repeat round 5 and continue to count it out, or I can just look at what stitches I had before and repeat that. So those 2 are knitted, and those 2 are purled, and then I have a knit, and those knits are hiding right there. I'm at the end of round 6, and again I'm purling 2, knitting 2, and that's exactly what I can see. So even if I don't know what the directions are, I'm just working what I can see. It's turning out just fine. So how many rounds have I done in this section? So I just need to look and see where my purling columns switch to knitting columns, or where my knitting columns switch to purling columns. So let's just take a look. I can see where the purls ended here. That's easy. And coming out of the purls was 1 round, and then above that is a 2nd round. So I've done 2 rounds since my setup row, and I've done 1 whole set of 4, which would be rounds 1 through 4, and now I've got 2 more rounds done of the next setup row, so that's round 5 and 6. So I'm going to go around quickly 2 more times, and then we're going to set up for round 9. And this is the end of my round 8. So let's just make sure that we can see the sections. So right here is my rib section, and that ends right here where the knits and purls and knits and purls go by 2 by 2 by 2, alternating. Then right up through here, you can see my knit column turns to purl and my purl column turns to knits. And this was my next section. This was my round 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I had round 1, round 2, round 3, and round 4 right there. And then if I go back over the purl column, I can see that I had round 5, round 6, round 7, and round 8 right there. So I've completed round 8, and I'm heading on to round 9. Round 9 resets the pattern again for the 3rd time in this 12 round series. Round 9 is really simple. I just knit 4 and purl 2, and I do that the whole way around. Well, let's set the row. Knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and purl 2. Let's do that again, and I want you to see where those purls are traveling. I'm going to knit 4, and again my knits always end over top of the column of purls, and that's when I set the new column of purls to the left. Technically this singular stitch column is a column. I guess when I say a column of purls, I'm talking about more of a rib of purls. So let me do that again. We're going to knit 4, and those last 2 knits fall right over this rib of purl. And now this is where I'm going to reset the new rib of purl. So I'm going to purl those 2. Okay, ending that first row, and I should be ending with a purl 2, and that's exactly what I did. So that is a good sign, always good news when the row completes the way it should. I'm going to repeat row 9 3 more times, or I'm just going to work what I see, knitting the knits and purling the pearls. So very easy. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then purl, purl, knit, knit. Those are hiding, but they're right there. Knit, knit, purl, purl. So I'm coming to the end of my, well, of a row. Let's see if we can figure out what row it is. So get that marker out of the way a little bit. All right, again, we have the rib section. And then we have the first 4 rows, and then the second 4 rows, and then the third 4 rows. But what row is it? Well, there's my purl, and coming out of that purl is this knit. So that was set up round 9, 10, and 11. So I am at the end of round 11, and I have one more round to go to complete this section. Okay, just completed my round, so let's just double check. You can see this beautiful little pattern emerging. We've got the rib, we've got the first section, and the second section, and the third section. You can see the rib traveling one column to the left. It almost looks like it's a continuous diagonal, but it's these 2 columns, then these 2 columns, and then these 2 columns is where that purl rib is headed. And these are the 4 knits, have traveled also 1 rib to the left, or 2 stitch columns to the left, however you want to look at that. So at this point we have a full 12 stitch rounds completed, and we are just going to start with round 1 again. Now we did say we want this to go to be about 2 1/4 inches from where we ended our rib section. So I want 2 1/4 inches. Again, you're going to measure from the bottom of your needle. You're not measuring the stitches on the needle. And it looks like I have about 1 1/4 inches. If I double this, I'm going to have 2 1/2 inches, and I don't really want 2 1/2 inches. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing again. I'm going to go for 2 more sections. I'm going to go rounds 1 through 4 and 5 through 8. You can do anything you want. No matter what section we end on, we definitely want to complete that section. So in order to do that, we need to make our last round a round 4, a round 8, or a round 12. It's totally up to you. It's going to just look continuous, so you're not going to know if you've done a 1 through 12 or a 1 through 8 or a 1 through 4. It's going to be fine. So again, here in the sample, I did 1 through 12 and then repeated 1 through 8. And that's what I'm going to do here. So now I'm going to start round 1 again. So in round 1, I'm purling 2 and knitting 4. And you can see my purls ended here. And so my purl rib is going to travel to the left 2 stitch columns. So there's my purl 2. And my knit 4. And again, my knits end right over my purls. And that's my cue to do 2 new purls. Remember, this is round 1 is a setup row. So this round I need to think and observe. There's a mistake. It's getting late and I just got going really fast and I did 1, 2, 3, 4 purls in a row. And I'm looking, I didn't know I did that. And I'm looking for my purls that my knits end over. I've already done 3 knits, so these 2 knits should have been over purls and they're not. So that's what made me realize I made a mistake back here a little ways. So I'm just going to tank back a few stitches. One more stitch ought to do it. We're back on track. Always pays to cross-reference and double check. So that's the end of round 1 again. And now I'm going to be heading into round 2, just working what I see. I think I'll be knitting at a doctor's office tomorrow. So it's looking really good. I'm excited about it, and I hope you're enjoying your headband knitting experience too. Hi knitters, I am sitting waiting for an appointment and thought I would get some of my January headband completed. I just have 3 little rounds to go. I'm on the last section, and then I'm going to measure it, and I think it's going to be just right. So stay tuned. So I just got this back out, and I'm not really sure where I am because I'm not keeping track per se on my pattern. I'm just kind of doing what I see, as I've explained you may want to consider doing. So let's just check and see where we are on this. I have my ribbing. I have pattern 1, which is rows 1 through 4. Then you can see it all shifted over these 4 stitches, and now that's pattern rows 5 through 8. And this was pattern rows 9 through 12. And these were pattern rows 1 through 4. And now I am on pattern rows 5 through 8 again. But how many rounds do I have here? Well, this is the purl, and above it I have 1, 2, 3 stitches. So let me pull this needle out and you can see it. I have 1, 2, 3 right there. So I know I have rounds 5, 6, and 7. So I'm going to do one more round, and that is going to complete my section, and that's going to be my round 8. So right here, that'll be my round 5, 6, 7, and I'm just completing round 8, and then I'm going to measure and see how tall my stitch pattern is right here. So I'm coming around and completing my last round. This is round 8, and so I can end on a round 4, a round 8, or a round 12. So this is completing round 8, and I'm just going to take a minute and measure and see how far I am from the rib. Measuring from under the needle down to about where I placed this marker. This is the purl rib in the rib section, and I can measure from there to below the needle right there, and that is coming in right at about 2 1/4 inches. So there's that top purl. So I'm going to leave it there. I think that's going to give me what I'm hoping for. It's giving me what the pattern is calling for a size 4. Again, this is a completely arbitrary height. You can go as tall as you want or as short as you want. It doesn't really matter. Now we are ready to start the last ribbing. So join me in the next video, and I'm going to show you this little trick about how to start the ribbing. And I'm also going to give you another trick or a little hack for casting off. So I will see you in the next video.